Well, turning now to the race for the White House, where Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are preparing to face off in their first presidential debate tomorrow. New CBS News polling shows an extremely tight race in three crucial states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. But Trump still holds a significant lead with voters on key issues like the economy and inflation. And yesterday on Face the Nation, Nikki Haley said for Donald Trump to win over voters, he should really stick to these types of policy issues. Here's a clip of that.
The substance is cutting taxes, making housing more affordable, immigration, national security. That's the substance. The style is, no, it is not helpful to talk about whether women have children or whether they don't. It's not helpful to say any of those things that are personality driven or anything else. I have said that, and I will continue to say to Republicans, stop it. That's not helpful. You know, if you want to talk about things, stick with policy.
So joining me now with the latest is CBS News politics reporter Zak Hudak. Zak, good to see you. All right, so heading into the debate, new CBS polling shows voters feel Vice President Harris will be more helpful to the middle class, despite Trump leading on issues like the economy. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper was on Face the Nation yesterday, and I want to play a little of what he had to say.
People had more trust in Kamala Harris to help the middle class. And as she spends time getting out her economic plan of shifting the tax burden here, we need to make sure that billionaires and corporations pay their fair share and that everyday people and small businesses get the tax benefits. As she talks about her child care plan and providing child care tax credits, you've got Donald Trump, who clearly doesn't understand the problem.
All right, so over the past, I guess, week or so, both campaigns have been kind of metering out, I guess, elements of their economic policy back and forth each day. How do the policies differ, or the strategies at least, differ between the two campaigns?
Anne-Marie, we had that really interesting plan come out from former President Trump this past week. That plan that was actually incepted, I think, by Elon Musk to create a commission to oversee government efficiency to try to bolster the economy. That was particularly interesting because it's sort of an atypical plan for a Republican to propose creating a government entity that doesn't exist. Even though the end goal is efficiency, the immediate effect of that would be to create government jobs. So that was an interesting point. But I think what's most notable here is the way that each of these candidates are talking about the current economy. We're seeing Kamala Harris be a little bit more measured because this is a current economy that is tied to her. She wants to tell people things aren't that bad, but I will make them better for you. I understand costs are still high. Whereas Donald Trump talks about it as though the Biden-Harris administration has destroyed the economy since he left office. So I think the biggest difference is the way they talk about what is happening right now with the economy.
So we've seen a number of notable Republicans come out in support of Vice President Harris. The most recent one was Dick Cheney over the weekend. And so I'm just sort of curious as to whether or not, I mean, I think Dick Cheney coming out and showing support, I think was particularly significant compared to some of the other Republicans who have been kind of overt critics of Donald Trump. But I wonder, this Republican support, is that doing sort of any harm to the Trump campaign at all?
I think what it does is it creates a space for moderates or even for Republicans who are a little more moderate to not feel alone. I think that it's a Republican Party that over the past 8 years, we've seen it become pretty difficult to oppose Trump, particularly if you're an elected official. I mean, the House members or senators who have spoken ill of former President Trump typically do not fare well in their future elections. So even though Dick Cheney obviously hasn't held office in a while and Liz Cheney does not hold her seat anymore, this does create a space publicly for Republicans to say, I don't know if Donald Trump's the best option, to the point that maybe we should consider crossing the aisle. And I think for everyday voters, that makes them a little more comfortable doing that if they were that moderate voter.
All right. Well, time will tell. Only a few more weeks to go before the election. Zak, thank you very much. So we're going to have full coverage of the first debate between Vice President Harris and former President Donald Trump, Tuesday, September 10th. It's hosted by ABC News, but you can watch the debate right here on CBS News 24/7. Pre-show coverage begins on America Decides at 5 p.m. Eastern.